Well, so what's the question?
Why do men cheat?
Okay, so why men cheat? Well, men cheat, women also cheat, but okay, let's talk about men. Now, I'm gonna use vector psychology. That's what I'm specializing in. That's what training will be about. And in vector psychology, there is 8 different vectors, different types of people, you can say. And every person is different, every vector is different from each other. Every vector, character, person had different role in the tribe. They used to do different things when we used to live in the tribes. Now, there is a vector, it's called uretrovector. It's vector of the leader. It's people usually like Genghis Khan, it's people like Alexander the Great. By the way, if you see a movie about Alexander the Great, they show him as a gay, as a man gay, but he couldn't be gay if it's uretrovector. There is no such thing, gay, uretro. It could be other vectors, so it's complete bullshit. Now let's get back to our question. That uretrovector, one of the main roles of this person, it was during the war, he was taking his soldiers, army, tribe to conquer different territories, to conquer different places. During peacetime, he was supposed to, he was in charge in the demography of the tribe. If other men died from sicknesses during the war, they died from all kind of different causes like hunger and such, he was in charge, he was making sure that all women who could give a birth, he was impregnant and he was making pregnant all these women. One person has highest testosterone level, highest libido, highest, in the tribe. So that's one thing. We have to understand that everybody different. Somebody's monogamous, somebody's polygamous. So they were poly. The uretrovector is polygamous vector. So most of the people in the tribe monogamous. Actually, they need one person. They need one spouse and wife and such, and it's fine. But biggest problem, as I see, lack of information where they can learn relationship, sexuality, and all that stuff, dynamics in relationship. There is nowhere to learn. I don't see somebody who's really teaching, because you want to learn from person who is doing it himself, who's practicing it himself. So how do you find a person? You can call it alpha male. They call it alpha male. Who is alpha male? I don't see any. Alpha male is the one who has the most females in nature. Man who has the most women, that's alpha male. I don't see any. I'm not talking about Hugh Hefner, who was paying women, and he had the Playboy mansion where he used to live with them. It's different. It's not the same. So there is no people. There is nobody can teach these dynamics. I don't see that. So that's another problem. Because men usually they know how to fix the car, they know how to play baseball, football, but no idea about relationships, sexuality, especially about women. They don't know nothing about women, and nobody can teach them. So it's always gonna be disconnection there. It's always going to be problem. It's always going to be they work for psychologists, and psychologists. I don't see any really helpful information that I find interesting and helpful. I don't see it either from psychologists. Nobody. But we'll talk about it later. So what happened next is because the other thing, it's fears. Men, they need to work on their fears. That's their main role to become men. Everything else secondary. Money, how he looks, what kind of car he drives, what kind of job he has, it's all secondary. First, fears. If he wants to have healthy relationship with women and friends and family and everybody, it's fears that stop him, don't let him talk about things and do things. Now, a lot of stuff, because of these fears, we don't speak and we don't talk in relationship, in the family, about like sexual relationship. Nobody's talking about that. Very few people. And if you don't talk about that, it's not going to get improved. You're always going to be dissatisfied. You're always going to have these problems. Nobody's going to be able to solve them because it's not going to resolve by itself. So first you need to talk. You need to get rid of these fears, discomforts. Women also need to talk. Why? It's very important because if they don't talk, man doesn't really know if he can satisfy this woman, if everything is fine. He's not sure sometimes. Sometimes you can read, see face expression, her body, but sometimes it's hard to read, or she can make it up. She's not going to tell the truth, or she's not going to say nothing. So he doesn't know where to go to move forward. And it's also not going to get nowhere. They're not going to get nowhere. It's always going to be cheating, they're going to divorce and such. It's never going to be a healthy relationship. So there's a lot of factors that play. But mainly, man needs to work with fears, then he can have better relationship because he can discuss it. Then he needs to learn, find really somebody where he can learn. Well, right now, I just said it's not much, not many people who can teach that. But eventually I'm going to also create training where they can take advantage. So that's what we're going to talk about.